Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. So it took me a couple minutes longer because I messed around and click 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 compassionate's link. There we go. I clicked the link that compassionate put in. What them sweet yams. Anyway, man. Okay, we're gonna first come at this in my pseudo academic way. Um, let's get into it. First, the reason why we're covering this is to emphasize that oftentimes a critique or a assessment, quote unquote constructive criticism, especially coming from a intersectional feminist lens, it could just be jealousy. It could be just pure undiluted jealousy, right? And what I am arguing is that, and I'm going to say her name this time, we have seen this multiple times from Kim Foster, from the way she reacted to what Brittany Renner had to say about going to the gym 3 times a week, especially if you're attempting to end up in a relationship with a particular type of man. We have seen her in her critique of Young Miami, from City Girls. Now we're seeing it again with this young lady. If I'm not mistaken, this is from that dating show, right? That Train Tracks, Train Tracks, Train Tracks. That young lady is from one of those dating shows, right? So Black women empowerment. And if you let them talk long enough, they start to show their fangs. They start to show what they're really about, what they really have an issue with. And what we're seeing from we can't make a texturism argument because I would argue this young lady probably has 4C hair. We can't make a featurist comment. This young lady is black. Blackity black black. Oh boy, I'm borging. But y'all give Z a second. Y'all give Z a second. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Right? So hopefully you guys can hear me better now. What I was saying earlier is that this is pure, undiluted, what it seems to Z, jealousy. We can't claim colorism, right? This young lady is not light skinned or any of the sort. We cannot claim featurism. This young lady is very clearly black, blackity black. We can't claim texturism. I would argue this young lady probably has 4C hair. And y'all give Z 1 second. I know I'm probably going to be borging in a minute. Give me 1 second. And we're back. Z's argument is simple. Kim Foster and her ilk get to hide maybe not being seen as desirable by the masses of black men, although Miss Foster herself has a black man. The angst, the envy, the jealousy, the resentment, she gets to couch that as critiquing black male misbehavior, quote unquote patriarchy, misogyny, misogynoir, when really it's I'm not the cute chick at the club. Let me use a line from women. It's giving jealousy. It's giving envy. It's giving insecurity, right? It's giving a-hole energy. As I said before, we watched Kim Foster do this with Brittany Renner. We watched her do this with Young Miami. Now we're watching her do this with this young lady and claiming essentially that this young lady in that dress, apparently on her wedding day or what type of wedding photos or whatever she was taking, it lacked class, it lacked tact. Is it that it lacked class and lacked tact? Is that dress that revealing? Or is it that Miss Foster doesn't have that shape? We watched her throw a fit when Brittany Renner said, hey, if you want a certain type of man, get in the gym, work out at least 3, 4 times a week. We watched her critique Young Miami for being in a whatever she was in, situationship, relationship with P. Diddy. Once again, this is before all the allegations, right? What we see expressed by Kim Foster is what many men really think a lot of what feminism is about. It's ugly girl arguments. It's undesirable women arguments. That does not mean that these women aren't desirable to any men, any black men. That doesn't mean that they're not in relationships. That doesn't mean that they don't get married. That doesn't mean they don't have children. That doesn't mean they don't have children within wedlock. That doesn't mean that they don't stay married for a lifetime. It's the treatment that they want, that they're jealous of, envious of. And they don't couch it for the jealousy that it is. They couch it like what you saw Miss Foster try to couch it as in her Twitter, in her Twitter, or on her Twitter, better yet. As you can see, this young lady is very shapely, um, right? You can see a lot of men would find her shape attractive, right? As evidenced by my own comment section right now, right? And Miss Foster does not get that same response. It's simple. I said it already. Ostefco has been pretty much the most honest. Now she deleted the pretty girl privilege think piece that she had, but she was the most honest. Miss Foster won't be honest. She can't even claim colorism like she could have did with Brittany Renner, or featureism or whatever, or preference, right? So we're covering this to say to foreign man in a foreign land, FD signifier, Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Well, excuse me, Eddie, Josh and Alvin, Ed and Eddie, Alvin and the Chipmunks, to consciously, this is what they really about, bro. She's couching this like this. Oh, the dress is a little tacky. It's a bit much. No, you're jealous because you don't have that shape and you can't rock that dress that way. And you definitely won't be giving. You definitely won't be giving what she gave with that dress. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me and I can stop borging. I think I'm finally in a place where I can stop borging, hopefully. But yes, it's giving jealousy. Your critique of Brittany Renner is giving jealousy. Your critique of Young Miami is giving jealousy. Your critique of this young lady is giving jealousy because it's jealousy. You could couch it however you want to couch it. You can hide behind 4 and 5 syllable words. You can hide behind feminism. You can hide behind all of it. It's jealousy. And these are the women who are handpicked by other influential black women and namely by white society to be the voice for black women and by extension the voice for the black community. So by extension the voice for black men also. And there you go. Little insecure, bitter troll women like Miss Foster. Women like this get to hide behind female empowerment. I'm not just calling this ugly girl arguments to call them ugly girl arguments. I don't mean that as an insult. I'm saying what she's making is ugly girl arguments, insecure, unattractive women arguments, and hiding that behind female empowerment rhetoric. Right? And women like Miss Foster, train tracks, train tracks, train tracks, women like Miss Foster have been doing that for decades. And men like FD Signifier feel like it's not their place. Okay, fine. And other black women say nothing. Not in private, definitely not in public. You want to know when we hear the truth? When black women start arguing with each other. That's when they finally start saying, well, that's because you're not pretty. That's because you ugly. You're an ugly being. What you think I didn't know you was crying? Your other homegirl told me you was crying in the mirror and you called her about your insecurities. That's when we hear it. Right? That's when we hear it. So Miss Foster gets to hide behind tact in class as if this young lady came out there practically naked. And so what if she did? Whether Z finds that appealing or think it's classy or not, you can see other women and the comments could see it for what it is. They're not exactly using the word jealousy, though. It's jealousy. It's jealousy. She's going to couch it as, class and tact and, right? Your obsession with class. Could we just get right to it? Kim Foster, you can't class your way into not being the cute chick. I'm sorry. You can't combo trip your way into not being the cute chick. I'm sorry. Clearly, you and your man just went on a trip overseas and you still are insecure. You can't critique Brittany Renner your way out of not being the cute chick. You can't critique this young lady your way out of not being the cute chick. You're hiding your insecurities behind class and tact and female empowerment and black women uplifting, being a cultural critic and pop culture. And no, you're still that insecure young lady from high school that went to prom with the white guy. And you're going to have to deal with that. Whether it's therapy, don't let it be another black woman. They're going to make it worse. I said it. Right? Whether it's having an honest conversation with well, maybe not women in your life, but with your man or whatever it is. But Miss Foster, you're still that insecure ass woman. I from what we can see online, maybe this is all a show for you, right? Maybe you're engaging in the class warfare where women like you talk all this crap, but then y'all still get married and have kids in wedlock, while the masses of black women still have all that angst and anger and resentment and ire towards black men, so they never get married or they never have children in wedlock, and while you and your man go sell out in the sunset. It could be that. It could be a class game that you're waging. It could be a class warfare game. But if it's not that, and if what we see here is genuine and this is the real you, it's giving jealousy. Don't expect FD Signifier to say it. Don't expect Consciously to say it. Don't expect Foreign Man in a Foreign Land to say it. Don't expect Cat Black to say it. Don't expect Juicy to say it. Don't expect T Noir to say it. Don't expect Nappy Headed Hoba to say it. It's giving jealousy, though, Kim. Evidenced by your own comments on Twitter from other black women, Kim. I told y'all let them talk. You let them talk long enough. This is the third time she done pulled this. How many times, FD? T Noir, how many times? Julesy, how many times? Alvin, Eddie, and Josh, how many times? Ghost, it's in my description box. It's in the description box for this live right now. So, I've said it before, maybe I have to say it again. So all a black woman has to do is just couch whatever she's on as black women empowerment and looking out for the sisterhood and black women hear me roar, and all she has to do is do that, and she could say whatever the hell she want to say. She can be jealous of other black women and critique other black women and couch it as empowerment speech, right? She could be condescending, mean, rude, snarky to black men. She could be a classist a-hole. So all a black woman ever has to do is just couch whatever issue she got going on as black female empowerment. That's all she got to do. Right? That's all she has to do. Kim Foster is going to be 35 years old. She's insecure like that. And all she has to do is couch her insecurity behind 4 and 5 syllable words. Right? 4 and 5 syllable words. She gets to hide behind her Harvard degree. She gets to hide behind her network of friends and associates. She's a little insecure troll. And all she has to do is throw out some bell hooks quotes and James Baldwin quotes, and that's it. Some Alice Walker quotes, and that's it. That's all she has to do. Flash her degree from Harvard, and that's it. And she got a pass to just be this person. A little classist a-hole. A little misandrous classist a-hole. You go through the comments, and somebody pretty much was like asking her, what's the issue? And she said class or tact or something along those lines. And this is just, once again, this is just entertainment. From my understanding, that young lady was on one of those Love Island or whatever the hell show that was. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken on that particular detail. But I'm using that to have a larger conversation, a macro conversation about Kim Foster and her ilk. These petite bourgeoisie, classist black women who are handpicked oftentimes by white society to be the voice for black women writ large, when really they're just little insecure, bitter trolls. Oh, she said taste. Okay, thank you, Dylan. The person asked what's the issue, and she said taste. What? And then she shows him a picture of herself in some blue dress. If I'm not, I think it was blue from what I could see. It's like, not your wedding, and you don't have that young lady's shape. I put money you don't have her walk or her stance or her presence. I put money on that. And all a Kim Foster has to do, all she has to do, is just couch her issues with black men not choosing her as sexism, colorism, featureism, texturism, misogynoirism. Right? That's all she has to do. So nobody says anything when she has an issue with Brittany Renner. Okay, fine. Brittany Renner is toxic and problematic, and color. She's light skinned and then mixed, and y'all not gonna say nothing. Okay, fine, fine, fine. All right, Carisha, fine. Young Miami, right? She was over here, piling around with Diddy. Okay, fine. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing about that. Cool. What's the issue with this young lady? Right? Ishmael said on this broad again, it's because women like her get to hide their insecurities, their jealousy, their resentment, their ire behind 4 and 5 syllable words and feminist rhetoric. We cover that because will any of these people start critiquing Kim Foster and her ilk? Or does she just get free reign because she used 4 or 5 syllable words and she's a Harvard grad? Does she get free reign because she hides behind intersectional feminism and black upliftment and black female empowerment? Huh? Let me say it again. Miss Foster, your trip to Cabo, your relationship with your man currently, right? Whatever $300,000 you earn a year, whatever piling around with upper middle class and rich white women, whatever luxury car you may own, whatever condo you may own or home you may own, it still ain't making up for that insecurity because every time you open your mouth, we can see it. Right? All the subscribers, whatever influence you have in whatever circles you're in, it still don't make up for that insecurity. It just doesn't. Right? And the more you talk without resolving your real issues, the more evident it becomes. I will be that arrogant to say, I saw it, I see it, and don't worry, more and more your subscribers who may not be in that same insecure place as you, they'll see it too. Your Twitter followers, they'll see it too. I'm talking about the black women. Huh? FD, I told you what this was. I told you what this was the first time you were on my live. Not to say I said it the first time. These are a bunch of women with high school and middle school and maybe even elementary school rejection trauma. They weren't the cute chick in high school. They weren't the cute young lady in middle school and high school. I don't know why y'all think just because somebody might be lettered and might be educated or might be highly educated from a good institution, that they're still not little insecure, arrested development trolls. Why? Right? So all someone has to do is hide behind. Oh, Z, you said it wrong. You said it wrong. All a black woman has to do is hide behind a degree, hide behind feminist language, pull some bell hooks quotes out her rear end. Right? Hit you upside the head with Malcolm. Black women are least protected, most disrespected, and least protected, least respected, and most disrespected. I don't even remember how this goes. I done heard it a zillion times though. And I want to be very clear why I mentioned Brittany Renner and then Carisha from Young Miami from City Girls, and now this young lady. Y'all were never gonna say anything because y'all see Brittany Renner as problematic. Y'all love when she was defecating on black men, but y'all still see her as problematic, and she light skinned, so nobody gonna defend her antics. So Kim Foster has free reign to critique her behavior. Okay, fine. Y'all not gonna say nothing about Carisha because Carisha is the cute chocolate sister that you could tell you would be okay being with D boys and be blatant. That doesn't mean that y'all wouldn't be okay with it too. But okay, Mr. Z, let that one slide. But Carisha being around Diddy, right? Y'all get to critique that, and nobody say anything. What about this situation with Kim Foster? How does Kim Foster get to slide with this? Thank you, Trell. Least protected, most disrespected. Boy, black women love hitting black men upside the head with that quote. And we'll pause right here. And Big Kev says, she sounds smart to young and toxic, insecure women. What does she? And I want to be very clear. Kim Foster isn't dumb. She's not dumb. We're not dealing with somebody that's slow. We're dealing with someone that's insecure. We're dealing with someone with an inferiority complex. We're dealing with someone that's jealous that they're not the cute chick, even if they're in a relationship. And most women aren't the quote unquote cute chick. Most men ain't the chisel chin Chad and Tyrone either. People grow up and get over it and still go live fulfilling lives. And Miss Foster is living a very good life and still insecure. And you let her talk long enough and she shows it. Right? You let her, and Toya, if you want to come up, let me know. Because I would love to hear a woman's perspective. And I'm not asking you to mammy, right? Or I don't know what the woman version of tap dance would be. But yeah, I'm not asking you to be a pick me or anything like that. But I would love to know. And by the way, the link is in the description box if you need to know what I'm speaking about. But these, and I was very clear when I said it earlier. I want to make sure I say it again. It's ugly girl arguments. Whether you find Kim Foster attractive or not, y'all gives you 1 second. And I'm back. Right. So Uh, okay, you say okay. So this link is for Toya only. I'm gonna have this conversation real quick. But yeah, so this is why I cover things like this. This is why I cover things like this because Kim Foster and her ilk get to hide behind 4 and 5 syllable words and black feminist speech and intersectionality and black women empowerment when really did she's just an insecure average black woman. And there's nothing wrong with that, but clearly she has an issue, right? And why does my question is now, how long before people start to ask this woman, okay, what is your real problem with black men? Right? And Toya, you're on the stream. What's going on, sis?
I clicked off when you said my question is now, so I didn't hear the
Oh
question.
no, Michael. No, my bad. My question was, how long before someone asks her, okay, what is your real problem with black men?
Oh, yeah, she's not going to be ready to answer that because here's the thing:
Nope.
when I saw that post, I immediately thought of you because I'm like, oh my gosh, like like what a terrible attempt at trying to seem like a girl's girl.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, she inserted herself in a way by claiming to also be a big booty gal, but she's tearing apart this woman who essentially has gotten further along in the process than she has.
Yeah. It it's so for this is the number one. I don't know what she sees in the mirror. Like, remember we had the conversation about her thinking that we see her as Beyond Joy Gray. Like, what obviously not looks wise, maybe
Yeah,
looks wise, but not looks wise. But the way she thinks she thinks she's Beyond Joy Gray to the rest of society. Absolutely not. But not only that, but when you say as a fellow big booty gal, I'm like, who's telling you this?
right.
If your man's telling you that, that's okay. You know what? That's your man. That's what he's supposed to do. He's doing right. He's doing right by you. But
Right.
what ends up happening is that you come out here really jealous of this lady and try to couch it as the young lady lacks taste and she lacks class and she lacks tact and this dress is a bit it's too much it's a little too tack it's a little too revealing when really you're just jealous.
Yeah,
You're jealous of her shape. We can't call colorism because she's dark. We
right.
can't call featureism because she's clearly a black woman,
Hmm.
right? We
Hmm.
can't call texturism because it looked like she has her hair relaxed, but I'm pretty sure her natural hair state is 4C curls. So what exactly is the issue? Because it's not really the dress.
It's the fact that she's effortlessly carrying off something that Kimberly has never been able to. And in the process, she's being praised for it. Because that young lady's body is, I mean, there is nothing you can say about that. Like, I mean, I mean, like,
The
that's,
yams, the yams.
yeah, and here's the thing. This is what I really wanted to come up here and say.
Hmm.
As a former big back myself, and
Hmm.
I have never had a big butt, like, just have never. So, like, I look at a woman like AD and I'm like, "Girl, like, where do I get that? What
Mm.
line do I have to get in?" But anyway, knowing that about myself and looking at how other women interact with each other in terms of how we, chop each other down in physicality, all
Hmm.
that made me think was, okay, you gotta look at the verbiage that homegirl was using too. Um,
Mm.
she slid bad bitch in there. And
Yeah.
I think that's quite telling because
Mm.
so many of us wanna be that, but can't. And this is yet another
Yeah.
yeah, this is just yet another way that Kimberly can't compete. You can't
Yeah.
intellectualize this.
Thank you. Thank you. It, it and that's why I'm covering this. I'm covering this because, quite frankly, women squabbles. That's not men's lane, right? With that, it's becoming more and more evident that she just is insecure in the skin that she's in. Toya, you were saying you don't got a bubble. Toya, do dudes not flirt with you anyway though?
I've never had a problem with that.
Thank you.
Like, I
But I just want to say, and you said also, even when you were bigger, did you
yeah,
have a problem?
no.
Thank
Because
you.
this is the thing too. I think my saving grace has always been being self-aware. Like, you'll hear me be a little self-deprecating, because that's just part of my personality, but the truth of the matter is, I need you to know this is what you're getting. I'm not I'm not about to
Hmm.
put up a ruse. Nah,
Hmm.
nah, fam, exactly how you see me is what you get. And there's not much else that I'm gonna do. I don't wear waist trainers, I don't wear girdles, I don't wear push-up
Hmm.
bras. I'm not in here, I do wear makeup, but I don't plaster it on. My face doesn't
Hmm.
look like a completely different face when I take it off. Y'all see the hair, I'm locking it, so there's not much you can hide
Hmm.
with that. Like, I'm just big on what you see is what you get. And so many women are committed to the ruse of it all and trying to fool y'all. And it's like, okay, if you fool him, once you can't fool him anymore, what do you think he's gonna do?
You know, while you say that, Angry Man has a short that he put up maybe a day or two ago, and it's of this kind of racially ambiguous looking woman. Looks maybe Latina, but she might be mixed black girl, whatever. Y- Toyo, she's taken off the weave, and you can hear the crackle, or maybe the lace front, or the whatever wig or whatever. It's probably more of a wig or a lace front. She's taken off. You can hear the crackle.
Mhm.
Then she got to take off whatever netting that is under it.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah,
you then like it's just a whole uniform.
I'm telling you.
Oh, for the from the neck up uniform, mind you, which
Yeah.
is crazy. And
And
I it's if the goal is to appeal to men, understand that the masses of men, particularly black men, really don't care about all of that.
no.
So I don't know if that's women compete against women type of thing, and it's truly not about men, because women say that, and I often don't believe them. I just think their ego won't allow them to admit that they're doing this for the attention of men. So, but I will give space for maybe it is women competition with women. It has nothing to do with what men think or like. But
No, it has
most
nothing to
men.
do.
Okay, okay.
It
Go
doesn't.
into that.
Yeah, I've said this before on my own channel. It has nothing to do with men and what you guys think. We are
Mm,
spurning each other into oblivion. I mean,
okay.
if it's not bimbofication, it's obliteration.
Hysterical.
I'm serious.
Wow.
I met a young lady recently that I'm kind of mentoring right now
Mm,
because she doesn't necessarily come with the one size fits all package of femininity, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But but the thing is, if I can be a beacon to her of what it looks like to be self-aware, that's a damn good start. And I think that, like I said before, we do ourselves a disservice by not being self aware. But when you compound that inability to be self aware with this hypersensitivity to appearance,
mm-hmm.
clownery is attractive. That's what this is. I mean, I was walking in the mall the other day and I saw a young lady walking in biker shorts and a crop top. She
Mm-hmm.
clearly had a BBL and holding the hand of what looked like to be her daughter, couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. The
Mm,
first thing I thought was, "That poor baby," because
mm.
there is no way that she can be walking around, with her daughter looking like that, and her daughter's not downloading, "Well, this is what I'm supposed to look like." What happens when
Yeah.
she reaches puberty and her body don't spread like her mom does? Oh, now you gotta have a conversation about how mommy got knifed up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Look, and you know what it is too. To be honest, it's also appeal to a certain class, right? So when you hear women say, and I've been thinking this since I was like really, really young. Well, you men like it. It's like, no, you saw that on TV and you saw a couple of celebrity black dudes around women like that, and then you said y'all men like it. A handful of dudes with some money have fun with women with those type of shapes and that type of work done, and
Mhm.
so it becomes y'all men. Who's y'all men? A handful of basketball players and rappers, like
Right.
So I really think because these shapes have gotten like insanely out of hand. Number one,
Yep.
and number two, when you and going back to the Kim Foster thing. Number two, it ends up being like this weird form of jealousy when you critique this that you couch as like empowerment, but the people that get all the smoke for real are the men. It's the regular dudes, right? Because it you hit other women with, especially black women, with the pick me energy. Oh, you're doing pick me behavior. This is pick me behavior. This is mammy behavior. And what you're really saying is because you're trying to appeal to black men. You're doing things that black men find attractive, so that's pick me behavior. You're doing things that black men find appealing, so that's pick me behavior. This young lady, her shape, the way she was walking, of course, it's exaggerated. The camera and whatever the angle, and you know, but this is very black. Like this is black men. Like this is where we at. And I just watched Kim Foster try to. I think I did all that rambling to say I just watched Kim Foster try to couch her jealousy as like being someone of class and a woman of taste and culture and like stop. Someone of the upper echelon. No, you are a-hole petite bourgeoisie black woman who's jealous of this young lady, and you try to couch it and pass it off as you know being someone who would like to see black women show that they have class and taste, but really it's not that. You're just jealous.
That's exactly what it is.
That's scary.
It is scary. I really was like surprised because I'm like, why are you responding this way? This is terribly mean, girl.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing bad to say about that young lady. Not her dress, not the way she looked in it, not the way she walked in it. The only thing I would say is really referring to the show and the red
Mhm.
flag she just ignored, but nothing
Mm.
about her physicality.
It you know yeah, but you're not insecure, Toya. Number one. Number two, you're not hiding you being insecure because you're not insecure behind female empowerment. And I don't know, like I think Kim, it just bothers her, and you could tell. That's why I brought up the Brittany Renner situation from what last year. That's why I brought up how she was speaking about Carisha and City Girls and this kind of like liberation through sex that you hear in music. And I do have a critique about that also when it comes to women and female rappers and the hypersexualization and finding liberation. But you could go all the way back to Little Kim and them with that, right? So I do have my own critique of that, but clearly I'm a heterosexual man, so it's not coming from a place of jealousy,
Right. Right.
right? So it's not coming from a place of like really telling them to put some clothes on and stop being so oversexed so that I can raise my stock while I'm in your presence. Oops.
Mhm, mhm,
I need you to put some clothes on and stop looking so goddamn sexy so
mhm.
that I can raise my stock while you're in those men's presence, even though I have a man. What?
But it doesn't even work like that.
Go
That's
ahead,
not
go ahead.
how it works for y'all
Mhm.
because in that same room, AD is still gonna stand out even if she got on
Yes.
sweatpants and a hoodie,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Cheryl told me I gotta pause. Yeah. If you don't understand the context of what I was saying, yeah. Pause on that. But yeah, no, you're right. So her name is AD?
Mhm.
Yeah, AD, okay. Yeah, so I heard you say it before and I was like, okay, I think that's her name. Yeah, so yeah, I mean she will stand out and that's okay.
It
That's
is.
okay. Look, man, like I am a 5'9" bald head brother with a beard and a bit of a gut now. And like that's okay. Guess what? I'm still in a relationship. I still got the toys I want. I'm
Right.
happy.
Not only is
Um,
it crazy, but
yeah,
it's something that a lot of women prefer. And
yeah,
that's what we really got. See, this is how you know women are down bad, because we are racing to the finish line to all look like one person. And in the same respect, not realizing, hey, we come in different sizes, shapes, and whatever, for a reason, because y'all have different interests.
yeah,
Men are attracted to different things. I'm not about to go into a room where all the men are looking for the big booty girls, knowing that I ain't got that.
yeah,
That's just not the room for me. I could
yeah.
chill with y'all. I could be a great wing woman for y'all, but I'm not gonna be the girl that you're trying to take home, because I literally do not have an ass, and it's fine. But that's the thing. There's another room where guys like what I have, so I can go in there and be fine.
You
So
you you go in the big beautiful lips dreadhead room. That's the room for Toya.
yeah,
The
there you
the
go.
yeah, and there you go.
And that's
And
something that I have without even trying, you
there
guys.
you go. See that I mean, like I think, and you see this sometimes. I think men get over it real quick. But I want to be universal though, right? So I said this before. Some of us are gifted enough to be the man in all 7 lanes. All 7 lanes. That dude walk in the room is like, oh crap, this nigga walked in the room. Goddamn, right?
But you know what? Men can do that. Women
Yes.
cannot.
And that's all it is. Some people are gifted to walk to be the person in all 7 lanes, and some of us we're the person in 1 or 2 lanes. You can't occupy all 7 lanes and be that person. And I see, particularly for women, they hold on to that for like forever, right? Forever.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. And so that's why I'm critiquing this, because I saw it. So my lady actually showed it to me. My
Okay.
late and it was very clear because she even saw the jealousy.
Yeah.
It's so clear.
Yeah.
You could call it taste all you want, Kim. You could call it's not taste.
Yeah.
It's your jealousy, and it's so blatant.
Mhm.
And that's why I say let them talk. Let them talk. And so why that matters? Because I gotta
Yeah.
connect the dots. Why that matters is because then Kim Foster gets the microphone. White women give women like Kim Foster the microphone to talk about issues in the black community, to talk about dating black men, to talk about relationships, to talk about family formation, to talk about wealth, to talk about power dynamics, to talk about black female empowerment. Women like Kim Foster are the ones who get the microphone, particularly being Harvard educated. Meanwhile, what's fueling a lot of her thought process on this is jealousy of women like this, jealousy of women like what's her name? I just said Brittany Renner, jealous of women like Carisha, Young Miami off of out of City Girls, and resentment towards black boys and black men for not not finding her attractive in that way. Maybe, but even though she's in a relationship. So you imagine women like this are the ones that get the microphone. And then you wonder why men like Joe Biden could talk to us the way he do. And Barack Obama could go to Morehouse and talk to us the way he do. Who's the people what black people gave them the green light to talk like this? Right? So when you see Kim Foster and her resentment at black men and her jealousy of black women like this, especially as a person that if what she said, well, what Obsidian said she showed is true, $300,000 a year, and she's rubbing elbows with that white woman from the financial diet, you know, yeah, man, that's what scares me. People like this. People like this, Toy. That's scary. And let me read Leon's comment real quick. She just wants attention. She has no friends. She could have went to Howard University for Africana studies, but she's classist and went to Harvard. Yes, yeah, yes. And thank you for the comment, Leon. For the super chat. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So I mean, yeah, Toya. So
You don't
go
get
ahead.
this we don't get this level of transparency from her without the battery in her back of having a boyfriend.
Oh wait, go into that.
Pay attention.
Hmm.
This is not a comment she would have made as a single woman.
Oh, when she was single.
Right.
Mm.
She feels covered in a sense that she has a boyfriend, and now she's being a lot more boisterous about physicality in a way that she never had.
Yeah,
I told you I
yeah,
was listening to her before,
yeah.
um, that I came over to this space. I
Hmm.
learned to like her. I found a
Hmm.
lot of things that we had in common just by sheer virtue of the circles we were in.
Hmm.
Um, but now not so much. Once I realized that she was just, intellectualizing misandry, you know, but now she's trying to lean that into being able to talk about her counterparts in a negative way. And that just, to me, if you're coming at it from a For Harriet perspective, how is this uplifting? How is this empowering? Telling a woman that she lacks taste because she looks damn good in a wedding dress is not
Yeah.
the way to do it.
It, and Leon says, Z, I said Howard for a reason. She would have had real black women friends if she went to Howard. Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, good point.
In the same
It,
way, this is going to sound like it doesn't match, but this is the same reason why Northwest needs black grandparents.
mm,
The same way Kimberly Nicole Foster would have really benefited from real black girlfriends is the same way that Northwest needs black grandparents. It
yeah,
that
because
influence.
Chris Jenner ain't cutting it.
Exactly. Ain't gonna ever cut it. I don't and I'm saying this fully ensconced in a 20 plus year best friendship with a white woman. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
There's certain things she and I cannot cover. There's just certain rooms she and I cannot go in, no matter how much I love her and my family loves her, and we have been friends for so long.
Hmm.
That is not something that I can get from her that I can go get from my sister girlfriends. There's a
Yeah.
reason for having that sense of community because you know why? You don't sound tone deaf when you get in a room with other women that look like you.
Yeah. I mean, but is it though? Because like, I think Kim Foster fits nicely in the Oprah lane. I think she fits
Yeah,
nicely in the Bell Hooks lane. So I
yeah.
mean, the circles of black women that she might come across are pretty much insecure little bitter betties just like her. So I mean,
And
I
I'll never
don't.
attend that conference. She'll never
Yeah,
get my.
yeah, right. Jason, I ain't in that room.
I'm just saying, like you're absolutely right. This is the same reason I don't rock with Oprah. So you're absolutely right. That's a
Mm,
very fair comparison to make.
so when I was my first job out of high school, I saved my little money for my mom's birthday and got her a little portable DVD player, and I got her like a I can't remember, a box set of Oprah show, the box set. I think it was some type of anniversary. I think I can't remember if it was Oprah's age. She was turning some milestone in age or like whatever it was. But I bought my mom the box set. My mom kept the portable DVD player and said, "Go return that Oprah box set and give me my money."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because she was like, "I don't mess with Oprah like that."
Oh,
Like,
you
and
got
it's
you
just,
a good one. That's adorable.
you see what I'm saying? She was like, and like, you know, black. There are black women that could see through the BS and they don't rock with it.
Yeah.
And this is, mind you, this is way before well, not way before, but this is before I saw the clip of her speaking to who it was, Diane Sawyer, when she was like, when she was younger, she wished she was a white girl, right? And like that says everything. What else you got to hear from Oprah? That says everything because she still wished she was a white woman. You can see it in the way she comport herself now, in her what 70s.
Yeah, is she that
You see what
old?
I'm saying? So like that, and when I look at a Kim Foster, that's what I see. And okay, fine, if that's your pursuit is to be socio-politically a upper middle class or rich white woman, fine. But don't you understand how detrimental that is to not just black men, because I know you don't care, but how detrimental that is to working class black women because they end up with black men more often than not, and they end up having black children, even little black girls. Do you not understand how your project to be an upper middle class white woman ends up biting even black women and girls in the ass? Because you end up sounding like this. And even when she had the whole thing where she said she wasn't gonna go to she had an issue with Eric Garner, and she was like, I'm not going to protest for black men because black men don't show up for us like this and this and this and that and whatever. Meanwhile, Eric Garner's daughter is crying up a storm
Mhm.
for her daddy's death.
Mhm.
So clearly she gave some type of F.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you, as a classist a-hole, had all the critique in the world for this man and his death.
Y'all just trying to survive.
Bruh, in his death, it just speaks volumes of your issue isn't black men's quote unquote misbehavior. Your issue is that you weren't chose.
Mhm.
Even though you're in a relationship with a black man right now. That's why I was earlier before you jumped on to it. I was saying like your trip to Cabo is not enough to cover the insecurity. Your relationship right now isn't enough to cover the insecurity. The money you earn a year isn't enough to cover the insecurity because clearly every time you open your mouth, we hear it. When I heard when she covered Bama Rush on her
Yes.
channel, and I loved her critique of it. I really enjoyed her critique of it, but I still smelled that jealousy of white women from her. I smelled it to it. I could smell. I'm like, oh, there. Oh boy, I could smell the. I wish I was them.
Mhm. Yeah, she didn't get her ring by spring.
You see what I'm saying? It and it is it's frightening. And that it and what there was a there was a Twitter thread of a young lady that was going in on white folks, and then come to find out she had a white man, and a white woman was ripping her to shreds. In the comments, they were ripping this black woman to shreds, and a whole lot of non-black people. Black people were in the comments too, but a whole lot of women, white men, conservatives on top of that make it worse. We're saying, of course, and I'm like, boy, y'all done expose the hell out of yourselves because even the white conservatives are like, oh yeah, of course, black women talking crap about white people, white men, and she's in a relationship with a white man. But of course, it's so blatant,
It's
right?
blatant. It's blatant to us, but to
Yeah.
them, it's just another layer of not being self-aware. It's
We
just
go into that.
because when you already lack self-awareness, you keep trying to color over it and make it look like something else. And you
Mm.
just and black women are really good at that. And that's why we're walking around here with baby doll lashes and blonde hair and, you know, claws.
The baby hair. I can't believe baby hair came back in style. And at least what baby hair before was just the gel. They
Right.
got to put on baby hair. Oh boy, the glue on baby hair. When because I remember that when I was in middle school,
Mhm.
and the fact that it came back to you, I'm like, first of all, baby hair made it come back, and
Listen,
now it's not just putting on the gel. Now it's actually sticking on fake baby hair. Come on, bro.
my friends and my mom were clowning me for still rocking baby hair, and I still will slick down my edges now, um, too, because, folks will say, "You ain't been a baby for about 30 years now, so why
You
you"
know what I'm saying?
but but the thing is, I think that here's the thing, I think that you can do it and it looks okay, but I have a problem with, and I know we're not talking about this, just go with
Mm.
me for a quick digression.
Go
Um,
ahead.
when the baby hair is linked up against your eyebrow,
Mm.
you might wanna skip it. When you gotta paint on the baby hair like Mr. Z was just talking about, you getting a wet
Yeah.
hair and you gluing it to your forehead to fashion a baby hair. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Any women that are listening to this, just please stop it. Like, just stop it. And the woman that, Kimberly Foster is talking about, she's a candidate for this because she is wearing a weave, and because her edges are just about gone, She tries to overcompensate that by creating baby hairs out of whatever hairline she does have, and that makes it
Mm.
look worse. If you look at a close up, it's really not good. She suffers from the same thing that Ostefko suffers from. I'm dark
Uh,
skinned. I don't think I'm pretty. So because I'm not naturally pretty, I'm going to put all of these things on my head to try to make myself look better and fail in the process.
oh, I agree with you. I think it's way easier to work with an Ostefko than a Kim Foster though, because Ostefko is not a classist a hole,
Right.
and
Okay.
that makes a world. It's easier to work with, at least for me as a black man. I think I could. It's easier to work with Ostefko than Kim, because Kim, she also has the veneer of I'm better than that and I'm better than you. She could couch it however she want to couch it, and it's just so much more difficult to, because I've seen Ostefko make concessions
Mm,
about how women speak, right? Black women in particular. You don't get that from Kim Foster, because for
no.
her it's a constant battle against black men and what black men actually like and find attractive, because it didn't work for her. That's how she thinks. What black men actually find attractive is everything I'm not. So F them, even if I'm with one now. And so I think I agree with you that her and Ostefko have very similar parallels.
Well, I
But
wasn't making the
go ahead.
connection between Kimberly and Stefco. I was making it
Okay,
between
okay.
AD and Stefco
Wait, which
because
who in
AD,
Stefko?
AD,
Oh, really? Okay, okay, okay,
yeah,
okay. No, yeah, yeah.
you have to watch Love Is Blind to get what I'm
Okay,
putting down. So
okay, okay.
I realize that you're not familiar with who she is,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
but what I'm saying is, on a physical level, both of these young ladies do themselves a disservice by rocking weaves and wigs.
Mm,
While they may, I will give you this, that they may not be conventionally attractive without anything, right? I
hmm.
think that the two of them would be leaps and bounds better looking if they embraced their natural hair and accentuated what they have naturally. That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
I think you're right as far as Kimberly having, I mean, Stefco having a leg up on Kimberly because she seems to be a tad more in touch, down to earth.
Hmm.
I think that comes from being a teacher.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do get that sense for sure. But even me talking about this, because I'm not in the same category as these ladies, could be seen as hate. Whereas I'm not even coming at it from that standpoint. I'm just coming at it from the standpoint of we all have something unique to give, so why not
Yes.
focus on that?
It, because maybe for you it's not enough,
Yeah.
right? I look, when this is my thought when I saw her critique Brittany Renner, and what Brittany Renner was saying, hey, if you want this type of lifestyle, you want these type of men, you got to be in the gym what she said, 3-4 times a week or 4 or 5 times a week, something along those lines. And when I saw how not Ostef, when I saw how Kim Foster responded to that, I just was like, because really what you're saying is it don't matter how many times I go to the gym, I'm not going to get the results you get, right? So the accentuating certain parts of yourself, I agree with you, by the way. What I think, it's borderline defeatist, and I get it, by the way, which is, but even if I go to the gym, I'm not going to get those type of results. I got to go a different way, and my different way is to over index on education and quote unquote status, and then I can come up that way. I can come up that way. Okay, fine. Which would be okay if you weren't still resentful about not being Brittany Renner.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
Even when you occupy the other lane, and you, if Kim Foster is truly earning a $300,000 a year as a 34-year-old, you beat the game, or at
Mhm,
least you're beating the game. You're winning.
mhm.
But clearly it's still not enough, because you want that. You know what it is? It's like Drake. You're on top of the world, but you still didn't get that street cred, that cred from it feels like you're buying, like the respect of your average black man, right? And so you can see that in Drake. The Pusha T was pressing on that button when
Mhm.
him and Drake were going back and forth. He was pressing on that. Yeah, but you not me though,
Yep.
and I know that chaps your ass. You're not me.
And you
You could
just
say
want
what you.
a little more melanin, don't you?
You exactly. That's what the whole your hair don't nap enough. Like
Yeah.
that's what that was. It's like you're not even. You're way bigger than me. You're way more famous. Blah blah blah. But you're not me. You want that street cred I got. Really that malice got. But you want that street cred I got. And when I look at Kim Foster, even though she's like, how many of us, even in the black mainstream, effing with her when it comes to the money and whatever, but it still bothers her that when she once again like Ostefco, when she walk in the room, she may not get no head turns from men. And that bothers her. Even though she got the man. And from my understanding, he's successful in his own right. Right? He's successful in his own right, but it still bothers her that when she walks in the room, the heads ain't turning like that. Right? And let's be honest, Kim Foster is far more influential than a Brittany Renner right now. Brittany Renner made her rounds, but Kim Foster got pulled, especially for a certain class of black women. Clearly, it's not enough.
Yeah,
Clearly, it's not enough.
there's rooms that Kim can get in that Brittany will never be invited to.
You see what I'm saying? But clearly, it's not enough
Yeah.
because when Kim walks in the room, she wants our head to turn the way our head would turn for AD, or the way our head would turn for a Brittany Renner or a Carisha. And she could keep on framing it a different way all she wants. But that's what it is. And I'm tired of the FDs of the world, Toya, the foreign man in a foreign land, the Dr. Umar Johnsons, whoever they are. I'm talking about the brothers right now, acting like that's not her issue. And a lot of women like her issue. I think they take those people at face value way too much, or they know that's the issue and they're too cowardly to address it for what it is.
Yeah, because then that would make them have to look in the mirror too.
Uh oh.
You
Go into
know,
that. Go into that. Yeah.
people like to be comfortable, right? So
Hmm.
if in your mediocrity I can support you, then I can expect you to support me in mine. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying is FD Signifier is not winning any good looking contests. He's not winning any athleticism contests. And, I hate to make it superficial, but,
Hmm.
when we're talking about viability and value, those are some of the cornerstones that I think in our community specifically is what lends themselves to Black men getting behind women like that. Because it's
Mm.
like, oh, well, if I make you feel like you're okay and you're enough, then you can't charge me up for having a spare tire or a receding hairline or, whatever the case may be. Like it
Hmm.
really does boil down to that. That's
Wow.
why a lot of men will say, I prefer a big girl because they know
Hmm.
it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
ask you for much.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. But I mean, with the Kim Fosters, that's not the case, though, right? With the
No.
Kim Fosters, she that like to make up for maybe not being appealing to enough men in general, black men specifically. That's where we have to emphasize our class position. This is where that's why she is so hyper focused on class and aesthetics and beauty and the way things present because either I'm gonna be famous or infamous. So if you're not gonna look at me for the okay, fine. Your man ain't gonna look at me, but you're gonna look at this Birkin bag that I just walked in with, right? So it's the one-upmanship. Fine. Kim Foster walks in a bar. A couple of brothers may be like, okay, yeah, whatever, right? Renner walks in the bar right after her, and heads turn. But Brittany Renner notices Kim Foster's Birkin bag, and that's the one up, right?
And
This
none of the men in
good.
the room care about any of that.
Nope.
So you see where it's like we get ourselves on this track of one-upmanship amongst each other, but none of us is getting to the promised land. None of us is making it to glory. We're just out Birkening each other. And it's like, for what, sis? I don't have a Birkin bag. Latoya will probably never have a Birkin bag. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. I'm okay with never having a Louis bag. I'm okay with never having red bottoms. I'm okay with none of that because right now, to
Hmm.
me, I've always thought about it like this. Yeah, pedigree is a thing, sure. But I would much rather my pedigree speak for itself than the items associated with it. If I
Yeah.
got to go back home to the hood, what I look like driving a Lexus and putting that in the driveway? What I look like walking my red bottoms up into my mom's house? Come on now.
Good point.
What are we
Good point.
talking about? Just saying. That's just my
It.
sensibility.
I look at it as the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? So especially for a woman like a Kim Foster, from what we understand, has achieved, Harvard degree, earning whatever. Apparently, her man is making good money too, so good for her. But it really is okay now. It's really status acquisition now. Now that because that's the next step up, right? What did Oprah do? Oprah built her damn school in South Africa, right? So like this, and now it's status acquisition. You get a car, you get a car, you get a
Yeah,
car. Really, that was about the meat industry, but still, right? Like that, you know, that now for Kim Foster is status acquisition, right? And what better way, particularly in our society, but to hobnob and knob slob with some white folks, right? Like that white folks get that up. You know, apparently her man is in one of the D9 frat. So like she can use that, parlay that into something, and yeah. But once again, the issue still is an insecure black woman who has the ears of other black women and girls, and who has this resentment towards black men for not being chose, even though she's with a black man.
I was just about to say something about that. I'm glad you highlighted it.
Hey, I said it before. Like I got my lady the red bottoms. Low key, it's an advertising for me. But Z did it right when Jay Z said Hove did it. No, Z did it. But yeah, but like it. Yeah, no. Dr. Thunder is right, and Dr. Thunder says flex is not affording red bottoms. Flex is being gifted them from your husband or boyfriend in this case for me. But yeah,
Absolutely. And that to
right.
me is that's what I aspire towards. Some of the nicest gifts I've ever received were from men who were interested in me or I was dating.
Hmm. Yeah.
I I don't consider it a flex if I go out and buy myself a Louis bag. Absolutely not. There's so many other things I feel like I can spend on that money and it pay for itself versus
Mm.
a bag. I am not above going to Target and getting a purse. Like
Yeah.
some of the stuff in Target is great in my opinion. Now, I don't
But
shop at
that's
Target.
exactly why we do it, though, Toya. For
Yeah,
the men that do that, that's why we do it. My lady didn't ask for that. She didn't hint for it. That's not like, but I did it anyway,
yes.
right?
And I
That's
had men tell me that they bought me things simply because I don't ask for them.
yes.
That feels so much better to receive. I on the receiving end of someone thinking of you so highly that they purchased you something not only that you like, but that is valuable. That
Hmm.
is so much better to receive than nagging to someone how bad you want this new whatever and them feeling obligated to buy it for you as a byproduct of being in your life.
It, let me see what you think about this. It
Mhm.
still is a form of obligation, but different. So it's a different form of obligation. I didn't feel obligated to get her something expensive or nice because I did it because of who she is, right? Because it's my way of saying keep on going. Keep being that person that you are, right? That doesn't mean I could do this all the time, clearly not, right? I ain't rich, right? That doesn't mean that you know that it's always going to be sunshine and rainbows, that there's not going to be difficult times. I'm one angry boss away from not being able to do this right now, right? So like that's that's the truth of life. But it is a way of saying I appreciate you and who you are, and I want you to continue being that, right? Now that doesn't mean that just because you continue to be that, that this is always going to be a thing, because especially if we try to save to buy a house and et cetera, et cetera. But it is it for me. It was, I felt a bit obligated, because it's like, well, how does she stand out when I'm not around?
Yeah, but
Because
that's an
go ahead.
obligation to an
Yeah,
investment, OZ. You're
yeah,
making an investment because you see the value in her long term.
yes,
That's very different from feeling obligated because you don't want to hear her mouth.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right.
That's all I'm saying. There's so many women I know personally and not so much personally that that's their metric. Well, if I tell you I want something, are you willing to go get it?
So you pause real quick because compassionate just and we on the same thing. And compassionate says, I bought my girl a Louis bag even when she didn't want it, to facilitate a flex on her peers. LOL. If I'm being honest, bro, what you think I did it for?
That's right. Shout out to you. Shout out to Compassionate. Shout out to Mr. Z. Shout out to Dr. Pumper.
Uh,
But better you. Y'all are all vibrant examples of what I'm talking about. This is exactly
oh
what
man.
you have found the value in your relationships to facilitate being able to to make her to be able to flex. There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this is the thing. On the back end of it, and I'm not saying your girls are tasked with this responsibility at all, but are
Hmm.
we then having conversations with each other to say, sis, this is way more fulfilling than talking to and screwing 5 different guys to piece together something that you want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Good
Like
point. Good
that's
point.
the
Yep.
conversation that should have happen with the young ladies on the other side of receiving these gifts.
Hmm.
Um,
And even if you don't, I think I think the environment is gonna force us to be okay with just companionship,
mhm.
right? Like I think we got and I'm being a hypocrite here, straight up hypocrite. I think we got way too far with the what can you do for me, what can you buy me thing. Because I want to be very clear, I was pushing a old ass, matted paint, Maxima, and my girl had no problem. And the cold AC wasn't kicking in, and guess what? She had no problem at all, right? So I think we got way too comfortable with the what can you buy me and what can you do for me, and that the lack of companionship is eating us alive, particularly women. It's
Yeah,
eating us alive, and you see it in the complaints. But I think this is how feminism has permeated every corner of our society. As women don't their pride in feminism won't allow them to admit that they're freaking lonely as hell.
and that's
But
what I
they're complaining about it without saying that though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because these things become the conversation. These
Yeah.
items, these
Yeah.
status symbols. That's why. And it's a never ending cycle. Autophagy. That's why I use that word. We will
Mm,
we will feed each other to each other and eat each other until we are all gone. Because
yeah.
there's more of us single than y'all. And while we sitting here
Mm,
fighting each other and windmilling each other about what bag and shoe we have, y'all going and dating somewhere in another country.
there's a was it Demetrius or was it Detroit? That I think it might have been. I can't remember, but one of them told me about the podcast girls texting. Was it black girls texting? Is it black girls texting? I can't remember. I can't remember the title of it. Black girls texting podcast, something like that. And Ebony was on there a couple years ago, and I listened to it, right. And the way you listen to these young black women getting off on obviously talking about sex, talking about relationships, but framing it like it's liberating, but really it's like all the negative liberty thing that I talk about all the time. And you see that, like, because Ebony gets to a point in the conversation, and I think this might, she once again emphasized what men actually like and want, and how what black women believe is completely different than what black men and men in general actually want. And she stressed that it's not just a race thing. And when she finally hit them upside the head with the, like, this is undeniable, you watch one of them say, well, I guess I'm a going Dutch ass, B word. Well, I guess I'm gonna use profanity because she said it. Yeah, right. I guess I'm a going Dutch ass bitch, right? And like it just, and but she said it with a like borderline angry demeanor. And it's just like, but do you understand what you're asking for? And because Ebony had to stress to them, I know we believe that when we get more money, the men will finally, not be these, they won't be men, essentially. And Ebony was trying to stress to the women, like, no, the men will still want what they want. Even when you can make more than them, they still are going to want what they want, and you're not going to be able to change that. And I'm saying all of that to say, like, there's this obsession with negative liberty and seeing it as liberating and free. I don't think that's exclusively a woman thing. I think that's an American thing. I think we got that crap from white folks. I think black women are egregious with the shit, but that's why I bring up free, white, and 21 all the time, because, like, it's somewhere in my community tab where, like, it's just a montage of white folks back in the 50s and 60s just said, I'm free, white, and 21. Whenever they would get in trouble or whenever they would do something heinous, they like be like, I'm free, white, and 21. And that's their way of saying, like, you can't tell me nothing. I'm not restrained by any laws or any rules or any, norms. And I just think that's where black women are. I think that's where a lot of black women are. And, like, when the consequences come to bear, now there's an issue, right? I don't know. What do you think about that, Toy?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean by autophagy. It's too late, though. By the time you're already on the hamster wheel of feeding off of each other, how do you get off? I said, I think on BGS's channel last week, I went to a luncheon, a networking luncheon, and I met some young ladies there, one of which was 33 years old and had just broken up with her boyfriend of a year. They were long distance dating. He was back home in Memphis, where she's from. They're both very successful. But in the next breath of her telling me that she was single, she said, "Oh, I want to be married, and if I'm not married and having kids by 38, I guess I'll just hang it up." And I'm like, "Do you know how fast 5 years goes by? And you just broke up with somebody who was with you and wanted you to come back to the hometown so that y'all can continue to be successful together, but you opted out of that and want to go it alone here in Texas because you like it so much."
Mm. There's a cost, Toy. There is a cost to our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. There is a cost to that. And as much as we, especially for our age group as millennials,
Mhm.
as much as we've been raised because rich white men want to be rich white men, to we've allowed them to atomize us and to turn us into these hyper individualistic, selfish a-holes. But here's the problem. Toya, what you eat actually does make me shit. Not
Right,
literally, but
right.
like as a black woman, what you eat, for me as a black man, it does actually make me shit. And for those of you that don't understand the meaning, it means that what Toya does actually does have an effect on me, and what
Yeah.
I do does have an effect on Toya, particularly as black people. And so when you see black women have this weird way of, like, dismissing, ripping to shreds relationships, and it does have an effect on them in the future.
Mhm.
If it was one or two black women, this wouldn't be even be a conversation. But the fact that so many, and you saw it on Kevin's channel night after night, yeah, I've been proposed to. Yes, I was engaged. I've been engaged 2, 3 times. And you're like, God damn,
Right.
right? Like, that does have an effect. And you got to remember, like, men are out of here before y'all are.
Yeah.
right? Particularly black men. So if you just want to make it, if you just want to do crass numbers, you get with a man that have some money coming in. He's stable. He might have a pension, 401k, whatever, and you stay with him, and he's out of here by 60, 65. Guess what? That's all yours. If you really want to get ugly and morbid with it, if you want to get dark, right? But you know, but I don't even think these people are thinking that far. It's just, I'm not feeling good now. I'm unhappy. It's Tyree's ex-wife,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
You're having buyer's remorse for the divorce, but you're at least she actually pretty much said it. But I think especially for black women, like that ego, Toya. I don't know. I I'm actually surprised when I hear black women actually say I effed up, like um more seasoned black woman that said that on the video. I divorced my husband and blah 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 and yada. And I was like, the first time I ever saw it, I was like, wow, she said that. Wow, oh wow, okay, right.
It took everything in me to bite my tongue at that networking event because I wanted to
uh,
hear her like, "Hey, don't be like me." You know what I mean? Don't be
mhm,
like me because I messed up. I said it plenty of times here, which is why I'm currently single. Like,
yeah.
it's not easy to rebound once you realize how far off of the trail you got. But you only thought you were going the right way because everybody kept telling you this is the way to go.
Mm. It happens. I mean, like I said, I told everyone, like, my sister is the one graduate law school. My younger sister, like, she's living Z's dream, and one of us had to do it because I
Yeah,
went off track.
yeah,
I went off track, and I went off track so long because I didn't. Lucky for me, I didn't dig myself into a hole. I don't have no record or anything like that.
right.
But I went off track so long that, and I built up a life that for me to correct, I would have to decrease in my lifestyle for a little while,
Yeah.
right? So and so one of us had to pick up the mantle. It was her, thank God, right? But just like you're saying, like, that's something I'm just gonna have to own. That
Right.
I want to go back to school, but like, it would now see the difference is you could be 22, 23 at home with your parents. That's a different story,
Right.
right? But like, for me to get back to school, finish my undergrad, go to law school or something like that, you're talking about 5, 6 years,
Mhm.
right? Of like, okay, money, and then they suggest the first year of law school you don't work.
Right.
You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So like, ugh,
And how many
So yeah,
people are willing to make that sacrifice? The older you get, the harder that sacrifice becomes.
you see exactly, because and I don't even have kids yet.
Right. Let me
You
tell you
see?
something. Z, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Life be kicking my ass and I don't have no kids. I can't imagine having to come home after a rough day and still have to be on as a parent. Make sure you get a meal, make sure you cleaned up, make sure you're ready.
Man.
And then I still got to do that for myself.
And that, like, that's what it is. And so we're very conscious of this, and I think that's what's also happening with millennials. We turning this into a damn generation conversation. I love it. Like, I think that's what happened to millennials also, which is like, we watched our parents struggle,
Mhm.
and we're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I want to have my kids in the most optimal situation. Which, here's the problem: we don't
Right,
ever get there.
right,
We
right,
don't ever get there, right?
right.
That's crazy to me. It's the optimal. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Toy. I had this thought when I used to work at the law office, right? And it was um the senior exec, name on the door. He walked up to one of my coworkers and he asked them to help him ship something to his daughter who was away on, like, um summer camp or something like that, and he went to ship her some candy or something. And I don't know why this thought occurred to me, overhearing that conversation, which is like, am I destined to work for this dude for the rest of my life? And I don't mean just him, just like his type. And then my children are destined to work for his children. It's like, that's what it's supposed to be. And then my grandchildren are destined to work for his grand. And I was I didn't realize it at the time, but I was making a class argument to myself. Like, is this the way it's supposed to be? Um, and I just remember thinking to myself, yeah, no, how about we not do that? And I think as a generation, many of us are realizing how rigged a lot of this is, and it's kind of paralyzing us, and so we're not engaging,
That's how you get
right?
an Mr. Z and a Toya that don't have children. That's
You see what
how you go.
you see
Serious.
what I'm saying? And like people meet me and be like, "Wow, you would be a great dad." I'm like, "Yeah, but the money though."
I'm telling you, I've gotten that too. I mean, to the point where when we started getting older, my friends were calling me auntie, and people that would meet us would think that I was their parent. I've gotten that maternal thing all the time about you would be a great mom, and I'm like, bro, I don't think so. Have you seen what I bring home in a paycheck? Do you know how much kids cost?
Toy, like I told you, offline how much I think I made last year, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Yeah, that ain't enough though."
There's
It is
something right.
crazy.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. You can say something.
I was just gonna say there's still things I need to do and get and achieve. And how like and I get part of parenting is sacrifice. I do get that. But I'm the type of person that if I had children, they would have it
Hmm.
all. I'm not
Thank
playing
you.
about mine. Like I'm not
You
like
see?
I take that so seriously. And I look at the friends of mine who have been married and have children and my one of my best friends, his kids are grown. One's in college, one's a senior. He literally I watched him do it from the beginning.
Yeah. You see what compassion is just put up here? Exactly.
Right. Right.
Right. It's
And
crazy.
oh, that's another thing I said at the luncheon too. I was like,
Hmm.
listen, I'm a tutor in my spare time. And
Hmm.
typically I like to tutor young boys to make sure that they get their college essays and stuff. When I tell you there was crickets all the way around that table when I said that, blinking and crickets. And I'm just
Why are you educating the ConcuSurf, Toya?
right. I'm like, you
You,
look around, all of us are women. We're here, accomplished and successful. Why do you think there are no men at this event?
hey, the property ain't supposed to know how to read, Toya.
Okay.
You heard what the slave masters used to do?
Mhm.
Is that a book?
Right.
No, it really, I don't think most women know how to articulate. So one thing I have, that's why like y'all notice I mentioned Ostefko because she's like gold when it comes to like certain realities, right? And I'm not saying she's honest all the time, but it comes off a bit more genuine, and there's definitely some honesty that leak out. But there's some there's some truths that I don't think the average woman, namely black woman, is willing to be honest with herself about, to even be honest with black men, right? Or they don't accept it, right? And there's things that you just gonna have to accept in life, no matter how hard you fight against it. It just is what it is, right? Like, yeah, that.
You expect
It,
you expect women who won't leave the house without a hair hat on and foundational garments to be honest?
yeah, good point.
Like
Good
I'm
point.
just saying, like the honesty is not gonna be there in full abundance when you can't even look in the mirror and look at yourself. You've got to put on things before you can even look at yourself. You can't be honest.
Yeah, I talking about that. I have seen Miss Kim Foster with her natural hair state and glasses on, and just another nerdy sister, just another average black woman with the glasses and the mini fro and whatever, and you know that you could see around the way, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I I I see what your issue is. I see what your issue is. It's undeniable, right? I see you. Oh, that's like me at 5'9" wanting LeBron James results for my life. Like I see what your issue is, right? And like I think that's where all the makeup, and I'm tying that to what you were saying, because look at her now. Look at the flowing weave, right? Look at the flowing weave and the makeup, and now she got her a dude, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like that has given her some kind of superpower that
Mm,
can all be easily stripped away. My
yes.
my superpower is inherent. I don't care if you put me in a burlap sack. I'ma still talk to you the same way I'm talking to you right now. Put me
Mm.
in a car without a blinker. I don't need to switch lanes. I could stay right here.
But Toya, okay, I think that comes from your mom. I think
It
that
does.
for the clip that I saw of your mom, that comes from your mom. So when I when I see Kim, she's hiding her insecurity and her resentment behind the 4 and 5 syllable words, which means she never resolved them. She just tries to bury them with all of this other, once again intellectualizing her misandry, and then it boils up whenever she speaks anything about black men, anything about desirability, anything about beauty, anything about other black women that might have the eye of black men, right? So like, you being secure with yourself when you were heavier, you being secure with yourself now, you being secure enough as a black woman to be in a space full of black men and not feel insecure to the point where it would be difficult for other, and they're going to say it anyway, but it'd be difficult for real for other black women to call you quote unquote a mammy. That speaks to your mom, right? And I
I'm
wonder her upbringing, where she's here with it.
I'm gonna give you that only to a certain extent, though, Z,
Hmm.
because my being heavier did a lot of the heavy lifting for that. Because when I was heavier, my mom berated the shit out of me, but
Mm-hmm.
because I still had to. I mean, I have very strong willpower. Not to mention I'm a Leo, but I digress.
Hmm.
Being heavy set forced me to find something else about me, because I still felt like I was viable and somebody worthy of whatever. But I had to figure out a way to make other people see that. I had to figure out a way to make them see past the fat, you know? If you look past my big back, I promise you I got a good personality up under here. And folks would see that, and that's what would
Hysterical.
me. And honestly, that's where it got me my self-esteem and my self-awareness. My mother certainly bolstered that once I did what she wanted me to do, which was lose weight. But before that, it wasn't really, I didn't really get that from her, if that makes sense.
Okay, no, it does. It does. It does. It's the, well, if you do what I say, then you'll have all the support in the world.
Right. Right.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And
Right.
uh, so, what you were speaking about seeing, about building yourself for yourself, and presenting that version of you to the world, and be like, well, if you could get over this shell, then you'll see what else I have to offer, right? I think that the road that you took and the road that Kim Foster took, I think y'all both traveling in the same direction, but y'all took two completely different roads. Because the road that she took is the hide behind intellectualism and hide behind a movement about female empowerment and hide behind 4 and 5 syllable words. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, y'all just took two different roads. But for her, I would argue that was her. That's what she's on too. It just manifests completely differently. Go ahead.
Let me tell you how I could have taken that road too. But you know why I didn't? Because I love black men. And I knew that if I I
Yeah.
knew that if I took that road, I wouldn't get to glory, so to speak, with black men, because black men don't want to hear you intellectualize everything, especially not in your 20s. You know, there are men who have an appreciation for my intellect, and I appreciate that too. However, I realized that if I want to make friends, if I want to have companionship, then I need to break down the barriers between us. And intellectualism, when you're younger, can be a barrier. It works in white rooms, so I knew how to turn it on there. but not necessary when it comes to building community and talking to people who look like you. You need to sound like each other too.
Right. Oh, thank you, Indigo. Let me educate you.
Right. Right.
Right. And it's the some and this is where I'm glad to be one of the people that came into the space with this is like the moralizing. This is where we get into the moralizing of Black women. So you not being that person just makes you more enjoyable to be around, right? The average Black woman is not Kim Foster as a class, but they definitely would like to be her,
Yep.
right? They would like to be her, and she capitalizes off of that. She knows that, and she capitalizes off of it. Really, right? Like it's the money and the clothes and the travel and the position. But here's the problem: that don't translate to Black men. I'm only backing up what you're saying, Toya. That don't mean nothing to the average Black man, and she knows it, and that chaps her ass. Because even with all of that, we still look at her like, meh, that meh. Oh,
Yeah, and
it's insane.
it's out of her reach, both literally and figuratively.
Literally, for real. That's what it is. That's all it is. And I think that does affect the way you advocate, right? Because I've said it before and I've meant it. And I actually did this, which is like, you're approached by white women about issues that concerning Black men and Black women, and you'd be like, hey, stay in your lane, right?
Mhm.
And you don't throw Black women under the bus, even if you're incensed at their behavior. Where you watch Black women and they can't wait to tell people how messed up Black men are.
Yep. I was just talking to my bestie about we were having a lighthearted conversation about men being the prize, and she disagrees with that. And she's like, "Well, how can you say that when your mom raised you by herself?" I said, "Because she made that decision."
Ah,
like,
ah.
it amazes me how Black women will go back to the point of strife and say that that's the inception, but not realize that the inception is what got them to the point of strife in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody's saying that my mom should have been a rocket scientist at 14, but she certainly shouldn't have been having sex. She certainly shouldn't have been, unprotected. All of these things. So if you are able to go back to this is why I say men are the prize and Black men specifically are elite because despite y'all just trying to survive, y'all are still here. Y'all are still trying to love us. Y'all are still trying to protect us. Even when we have had the microphone, we have had the support, the government, y'all are still here. That's what makes y'all elite. Despite
You
our delusion to not even see where we got off course, y'all are still like, it's okay, baby. Come over here. This is where the road is. I know you got off. I know you hit your hubcaps. You lost your rear end. You come on.
it's funny you say that. So I don't know if you were there for the stream where this young lady popped up. She had a mixed daughter. She had been pretty much the bust down for some white Latino dude that she claimed abused her and whatever. And she talked a whole lot of crap in the beginning. And this is on Roger Report's channel. And eventually we got her to calm down a little bit after all the insults, because they coming. And then we started giving her ideas about how to raise her mixed daughter and maybe how to maybe end up with a Black man after the fact. All of that. We just watched this lady curse us the hell out, right? Comparing us to white men and all the other foolishness. And that goes to what you're saying, Toya. Even after all of that, on the Raj Reports channel, mind you, we still were like, and Indigo says, I remember that. And Indigo, we still spoke to her backstage.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that goes to what you're saying. We try to look out even after I end up but I think she was on the panel before I was. Yeah, she was on the panel before I was. And we end up talking to her after the fact. Like that goes to what you're saying. Like even with the insults, even with the comparing us to white men and deeming us lacking, because it gotta happen.
Right.
Even with all of that, it's still like, okay, are you done yet? You done throwing your temper tantrum? All right. So what you're gonna do?
Who else is doing it? What other men in the room?
Exactly.
I look around and I don't see anybody.
I just, for me, and that's why you see I keep on bringing it up, and like that's what I'm so happy I coined this. Like it's just temper tantrum. For
Yeah.
Yanni, it's temper tantrum. For Chrissy, it's temper tantrum. For Kim Foster, it's temper tantrum. For Khadijah, it's temper tantrum. I don't know so much about T Noir, but like it's just it's temper tantrum. It's temper tantrum. You let them talk long enough, and it's temper tantrum. Lexus Exodus is temper tantrum. Mahogany Pink, I tell you, when I listen intently. I'm fishing. What do you actually mean? Because I know you're gonna talk. I've been around black men my entire life. You're gonna talk. You're gonna talk a whole lot of crap. Blah 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 blah. You're gonna hide behind niggas ain't shit rhetoric, all this other stuff. But after we get past all of that, however long it lasts, what's really going on? And it's jealousy of white women, and not even really average white women, upper middle class white women. It's who didn't choose me when I was younger, who's not choosing me now, the lifestyle I see on TV that I want to live, the financial struggle, and the fact that I can't meet the man that's gonna pay for everything, right? Like it really is that, and I just wait for us to get to the real talk. Now, if that's in real life, but if I'm listening to a content creator, I know eventually you're gonna slip up. You're gonna either slip up on one of your think pieces, you're gonna slip up on a live stream, and then we're gonna find out what it really is. And we're gonna get to it. The more you, and especially the more you talk, the more you're gonna expose what it is. And yeah, and then we can have a real conversation about the fact that you're freaking delusional, right? So go ahead to it. Yellow. Give me a second. Because my phone is doing. There we go. All right. All right. There we go. But yeah, can you? Okay, you Twitter's muted right now. And BJ says you're a sucker for punishment. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and yeah, no, I really am. That- That's why they say sadomasochist, right, Charles?
Yeah, my bad. I had too many tabs open.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So I think a lot of that comes from me and my interactions with my younger sister. Um, you know, um, and I've been pretty good growing up critiquing the different behaviors of black women, black girls when I was younger, and then black women. But once you start getting through the race thing and you start realizing, like, and that's why for those of you that always hear me like say that, like, this is a lot of this is a woman of color thing, particularly black women, because they're the furthest away from the quote unquote ideal. But I say that for a reason. It really is jealousy of white women.
Yeah.
Right, when you hear that the clip that Compassion put up with the Asian girl, this is man on the street interview, and she's like pouring her heart out. Man in the street interview, she speaks about her mom that passed away, and then what did she had to tell you, I wasn't the cute blonde hair blue eyed girl in high school. What?
Newsflash, we're gonna be.
I tell you, you killed me in the comments too when you said Caucasian. But it's true. And I say all of that to say, when you realize that a lot of this is just temper tantrum, adult women throwing temper tantrums because they done watch too much TV, they read too much, and they're around white girls who's usually lying about their life. Um, then you get it. Now, what you do with it, now that's a different conversation, right?
Right.
What black men do with black women throwing a temper tantrum? Because I'm glad that we got here. With these women aren't told to settle, and white women aren't told to settle, and stay-at-home moms, and like just 10 tons of data, and just beating that drum every single day.
Yeah.
I think that's how we got here. Now, tying that to the Kim Foster thing, the argument now is becoming about behavior, right? It's really difficult to make the race argument and how black men are lacking when you realize that there's black men that are doing both better and worse than black women. And there's not enough, not going to fetishize you, not racist, non-black men to make up for the difference. So that means black women are going to, like Obsidian says, horse trade. They're going to have to compromise or eat vagina. But if the goal is to end up in a relationship that has the money, then the vagina, E and vaginas just ain't gonna cut it, right? Because you know who earns more less than black men? Black women.
Exactly.
So I say all of that train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. I say all of that to say I think Kim Foster's jealousy, which he displayed here, says everything anyone needs to know. And I'm glad that she said what she said. Not to say she it's to
Well,
say people like you get the microphone. Do we understand how dangerous it is to have insecure black people, resentful at fully half of the black community as black women, be the quote unquote representation for black women? That's dangerous. And white racist folks get to capitalize on that. But
and
yeah, go
God
ahead, Toy.
forbid, black
Hmm?
woman, I get on here and I talk about how black men are elite, and my mental health gets uh, ridiculed. I know I, I'm very well aware of how smart I am, and that I'm able to think logistically or logically rather, um, and lead from a place of sense. But because I'm not willing to side with those who would rather detract from you all,
Hmm.
something must be wrong with me.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's
How?
that's something that's something that's got me making content less these days. That's why you guys haven't seen me for a while.
Really?
Yeah, to be
Oh.
honest with you, I'm like, you know what? I need to take a step back. I really
Mm.
needed to take a step back because I do very much care about how I come across, but also maintaining my peace and my ease. That's
Hmm.
why I
Hmm.
always end my show that way, because I think that I understand a modicum of what Black men are up against in this world. And so,
Hmm.
whatever you guys can do to maintain your peace and to enforce some sort of ease, even though I know every day is not going to be easy, do
You
that.
know, Toya, Ebony K. Williams said, "I'm not going to give y'all a soft place to land." And I wondered to myself, how is this supposed to work for black women? How is black men's degradation supposed to work for black women? How is condescending to black men, not caring about black men's outcome, unless they're rich elite men, how is that supposed to work for the masses of black women? Like, I'm listening and watching black women show their indifference for decades, and it didn't work for them, but yet they're still going down this road. Okay, fine. It didn't work for their daughters, they're still going down this road. Okay, fine. It's not working for their granddaughters now, they're still going down this road. Okay, cool. But for real, how is this supposed to work? How is criticizing women like Toya for being in spaces like the Black Manosphere, how is that supposed to work for black women?
Well,
So it really is what Paris Milan said. These people hate black men more than they love black women, because there's no other way to I can't think of any other way to contextualize this. How are black women supposed to rise up in America? How are black women supposed to have things? How are black women supposed to live not just comfortably but prosperous? And there's no black men in the picture. How is that supposed to work?
you do it with each other. This is why my mother and grandmother are living together.
Yeah. And that would explain why black women are the most same sex loving group of people in America.
Hmm. Yep.
And they have the highest DV rate. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Like that. So the answer is it doesn't work.
And a whole time trying to manufacture toys that can emulate
And
men. And
that
it's
part,
like it's like you could have had the real thing. You
all
could
right.
have had the real thing. And I'm always gonna be a proponent for the real thing.
Hey, when the first time I said chocolate bar, and you always put that chocolate bar in the comments, I
That's
died.
right. It's the chocolate bar for me. It's giving chocolate bar. It's giving, you know, High five.
Uh,
All the good ones, the Snickers, the Twix, whatever. I thank you. I do not want a proxy. I want a person.
it it it's it's crazy because what was I watching? And they were talking about DV, and one of the women said, for women like me who it's really a fight, right? Like I struck him, he struck me back, and we're fighting, and but clearly he's stronger and faster, so I'll lose. Whatever. She said, stories like hers never get told. It's always the he came in, the food wasn't on the table, and then DV time. And I'm bringing that up to say voices like yours are the ones that are not elevated,
Nope.
right? The voices like Kim Foster are the ones that's elevated, right? And I think it's because you also don't occupy the hotep space, and you come off. And I'm saying for mainstream, I'm being very deliberate with the words I'm saying. You
Right.
don't come off hotep. You come off like a modern black woman. You're not a pushover, but you want a black man. You want to be in a relationship with a black man. You want to marry a black man, and so it doesn't come off pandering. It comes off pretty sensible and practical, and that's why women like you are oftentimes not given the microphone, because you just would be too appealing, and you would upend the apple cart, and it would be very difficult for Kim Foster to speak after you spoke, right?
Yeah.
And
Because I also
that's why they give her the microphone. Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
also don't have any war stories. I
Yeah,
don't. I literally don't. I don't hate y'all. There's nothing
yeah.
about me that I could pinpoint in terms of my own personal experience. Sure, I've had bad ones. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that at all. But I don't have any war stories. I don't
Yeah.
have any single man in my life that I could say, past or present, that
Hmm.
left such a nasty taste in my mouth that I felt like I needed to apply it to all of you.
That you. So when I'm talking to my lady and I make fun of her a little bit, and she'll send me something or whatever, I'm like, babe, you too light skinned for this. They ain't gonna like this, right? You the perfect. You can't be sending me this. You a mammy. You. This is pick me energy, babe. Like you can't do it, right? And like I'm messing with her, but it's to say like go into what you're saying, and that's the issue. The issue is that you don't hate black men. The issue is that you don't have the war stories. The you know, and so that just puts you in pick me territory. That puts you in and especially that you can articulate yourself the way you do, right? That's an issue for the gynocracy, especially the intellectuals,
Yeah.
especially the intellectuals, right? So and the issue that did what ends up happening with that is that continues to keep the black men and black women separated. But for who does that benefit, right? Who does the separation benefit? Number one, but number two, you not being that type of person, and you not have, and because of that, you not having the microphone that a Kim Foster has. Obviously, that benefits her individually with the money, but it keeps the black communities fractured. And what we're seeing more and more is like even the black community population is on the decline in America because we're not having children, right? Um, because we're not getting together, and we're not getting together because there's this schism, plus the atomization and the hyper individuality. How is this supposed to work,
I tell you,
right?
that was part of my motivation for not wanting to have kids. It wasn't just the money part. It was I
Mhm.
don't want to sound like them.
Yeah,
I really did think like, yo, if this is what that's about, I don't want any part of it. No, thank you.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's frightening, but yeah, so I'm not gonna keep it too much longer. But like, yeah, I'm thank you for coming up and like this. Look, and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Look, I'm I covered her because I think what she pulled here just is like the exclamation point to what the hell I be talking about. It is the Will Smith and Jada when he did the look, right? Like I present to you, right? Like she is that. She is that, and what she pulled here, and once again, what's beautiful about this is this lady is dark skinned. She's very clearly, visibly black. There ain't no nothing takes that. She is a preference, but you can't claim texturism, featureism, colorism, all this other stuff. Oh, y'all just doing that because she light skinned. No, your jealousy is you can't hide it. You can't hide that you have an issue with black women that black men find desirable. That's your issue.
Mhm.
And the only problem I have with you having that issue is that women like you are given the microphone. Outside of that, I wouldn't care. You could go throw your temper tantrum in the corner. I don't give a damn. But the fact that white folks like giving women like you the microphone, they like putting women like you on Front Street and letting women like you talk about the black community and your issues with black men and your issues with other black women, right? Now everyone gets to see why. Why women like you are given the microphone. Why women like you make crazy amounts. Why women like you influential white women. Because you like this about black community. You
Oh,
think
Mr.
like
Z,
about
you're
black
broken.
men and black women. Can you guys still hear me? Hear me now,
Okay,
now, now,
that came
maybe
clear.
now.
That came clear. But everything before that
Okay,
was
okay, okay, okay. So no, I was saying like the reason women like Kim Foster are given the microphone. Women like Kim Foster are who white folks prop up, namely white liberal Kim Foster, and it's because of the black community in general, but black men specifically like this. She's a classist a-hole. You let her talk long enough, and she sounds like this about black women. Now she's couching it once again as a critique of the way this young lady was dressed.
right.
Right? Tate, the beast. No, you're giving jealousy.
Yeah, because I don't think we're gonna see Bowser on any best dressed list anytime
That's the
soon.
real issue. You're at me. Wait, say that again, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you
Because
went
I think
out. So I
I
was
broke up for a
saying,
little bit.
yeah, I was just saying,
Uh,
I don't think we're gonna see Bowser on any best dressed lists anytime soon.
yeah,
So
probably
it's
not.
just kind
I'm
of,
probably gonna go out for a little bit
yeah.
because I'm about to go on this little side road, and so you could take over for about another 2 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll end the stream in a little bit.
Okay, sure. I'm actually gonna go ahead and post a video that I took at GameStop the other day because I saw a Bowser mug in there, and I was like, "Huh, this might be content." So I'm gonna post a link to your this
Go
stream
ahead,
on
go
my
ahead.
community tab with. But yeah, I want to just thank you for having me today. I appreciate us being able to talk about this. And I will come back to you guys with a stream soon. I just have to be in the right headspace for it. And Mr. Z and I are doing a show this coming Friday. So even if I don't see you before that, you guys can look forward to that on Friday.
I'm still good for that.
Um,
I'm still good for that.
okay, perfect. Um, but yeah, again, thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing everybody else in these YouTube streets. Enjoy the Sunday. I mean, it's a beautiful day here in Dallas. I don't know where you all are, but I hope it's a beautiful day for you too. Much love, Z.
Thank you, Toya. Thank you for coming in. Coming up. Um, yeah, yo. So, like I said, I covered this because I think it was important. I think it's important when these people show their hand. Um, you know, and I hope you guys can still hear me well. But yeah, I think it's important when these people show themselves and show their hand. Um, I covered this because it's giving jealousy. It's giving jealousy. It's giving intellectualizing misandry. It's giving you really have an issue with women that black men find desirable. And it's not only light skinned black women, it's not only racially ambiguous black women, it's not all it is the preference. And yes, she is a preference. She is a preference and her shape, right? She is a preference. And that's what these people have a problem with. They're not the preference. And even if they're in a relationship, and I want us to start being, look, these people have shamed entirely too many men for calling it what it is. You're making ugly girl arguments. You're making ugly girl arguments. I'm not calling you ugly. I'm saying you're making ugly girl arguments, though. I'm saying your issue is with the way you present to men. Your issue is that you're not getting the treatment that you think you should have, you feel you should have, coming from black men in specific. Right? And so, black men bad behavior is really about you feeling like you were treated, being treated with opposite dictate. And you're just making it more and more to everyday people, to everyday black people. And now it's not just the black men that see it. And why that matters is women like you, once again, black women like you, have had the ears of white folks, and you have used that to beat up on black men for entirely too long. And on that note, everyone, oh crap, I hope I'm not burning now. Um, hopefully not. But and on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of y'all day. Thank you for listening in. You know, Kim Foster do better, right? This for this one, I wanted to definitely say her name. Yeah, send YouTube at me. I definitely wanted to say her name. I did not want to, use her the term that we use. But no, because it's important. It's important that we call this for what it is. It's temper tantrum energy. It's petulant child energy. It's why not me, God energy. Right? And it's I'm gonna get y'all for you not treating me like Brittany Renner, for you not seeing me like a AD. And so yeah, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.